In the summer of 1936, a University of Minnesota graduate student named Raymond Lindeman began an ecological study of a small lake near Cambridge, Minnesota. It was a heroic effort. Blind in one eye and fighting a debilitating liver disease, Lindeman turned to his new wife Eleanor for help. His investigation of this lake would revolutionize the emerging field of ecology, which at the time was still more art than science.
Ecology started out as natural history. As such, a lot of ecology dealt with the biology of particular species that somebody found interesting. Not very much dealt with whole systems, with ecosystems.
In the 1930s, researchers like Aldo Leopold and Sigurd Olsen were moving toward an understanding of ecosystems. Raymond Lindeman was determined to move beyond description and begin to tease apart the mystery of how ecosystems actually work.
He had ideas that were really radical for his day. He took quantitative samples. He wanted to know where the nitrogen came from and where it went to, what happened to other nutrients, what happened to the carbon. And no one had ever taken this kind of approach before.
For more than 5 years, the couple collected countless samples of water, plants, microscopic organisms, worms, crustaceans, and fish. They then divided these into categories based on how they acquired, used, and passed on energy. Based on the data, he created a picture of the lake rendered entirely in terms of how nutrients and energy move through its various parts. It was a work of astounding originality.
Well, the reason that the work of Ray Lindeman is so important and carries on as a intellectual legacy till today is because for the first time, he and other scientists like him around the world were thinking of ecosystems as very interconnected at every scale. It's changed the way in which we look at the world.
By examining in its entirety the food web of one small place, Lindeman unlocked the door to the inner workings of ecosystems. Raymond Lindeman never lived to see the impact of his work. He died at the age of 27, just months before the journal Ecology published his research on Cedar Bog Lake. And though his findings essentially jump-started the field of modern ecology, his contribution was barely felt in the world at large. It was 1942, and the world was at war. New technologies developed in the war effort, coupled with a sharp rise in consumer demand in the post-war years, would unleash a period of unparalleled changes in the land. Lake Superior, one of North America's crown jewels, would be threatened. And with a boom in population, cities would spread out across the Minnesota landscape. As Minnesota reached mid-century, it had acquired the technology to totally reorder nature. But it would be decades before Ray Lindeman's revolutionary ideas would enable us to understand the consequences.